Hello, welcome to the land of Kakiak. My name is Laurel, and it is planning time. I am going to do one thing different today. So I'm going to plan for my 3 boys for the week per my usual routine. At the end, I'm going to use this. I will link this in the description for you, this right here. And I'm just sticking it in one of my dry erase pockets. And I'm going to show you how I configure my kids' assignments for the week within the RC time parameters. I will be referring to this letter that I nabbed off of our Facebook, the official Robinson Curriculum Facebook page, and show you it has some good information in here that can help you plan like time-wise if you are an RC parent. It could probably help anybody who's just wondering how long to have their kid do stuff. Okay, so right now I'm going to go to my 7th graders. This is, there's a whole bunch of stuff I didn't fill in last week. So I'm going to finish filling out last week really quick. A slight change to our weekly schedule. So we still have 6 days a week, our 6th day being Sunday, but I'm only having them reading their book, whatever book they're reading on Sunday, for an hour, and then anything that they didn't get done during the week. So we will go through and highlight anything that didn't get done. If they're behind on a lesson of math or whatever, I'm going to have them make it up on Sunday. This stands for How to Study Your Bible. That's the kids' Bible study we're doing right now. I'm doing that with my 7th grader and my 3rd grader. And then RS just stands for Right Start. And then L for Lesson. And then I just fill in whatever lesson it is. Sometimes you didn't get to it today before or something, so I found it's better not to pre-write in the lesson number. Okay, math. So he's currently reading By Right of Conquest, and he'll read that for 1 hour. And then there's journal that he's filling out after he reads, and he does vocabulary. And whenever he just gets to a test, he just tells me, "Oh, Mom, it's done. I need a test," and I just make a copy of the test and have him take it. So I don't really plan for it. It just comes up when it comes up, and it does. And I go back and note, oh, test, 4 or whatever, and then the grade in here. So this is this is like the plan. I do all the planning, but I give this plan to the kids in our Monday morning meeting, and they transfer their own plan into their own planners. And so they are practicing. They're, progressively getting more detailed in what they write down. I'm trying right now to get them to start recording their own lesson numbers, like for math or like with William for his like McGuffey lessons. I'm trying to get him to start remembering to record what lesson he did, because eventually we want them to be basically making their own plans and keeping their own records. And then I just have oversight, So reading, we're just going to do on Sunday, hopefully, for 1 hour. Hopefully there's nothing else to do. And then, of course, he has to do the journal with that. Okay, writing. We're still working on writing and rhetoric. We've got to be close to finishing this book and moving on to book 4. But we're almost done. And we just do this for 1 hour. We just set a timer and just work for 1 hour. And yeah, I do this with him. And then science. Again, this is 1 hour of his course is general science that he's taking with the Apologia curriculum. And he sets his timer for 1 hour. So it's a 4-day-a-week plan. But I'm going to go ahead and put it in here 5 days a week. There's usually a day we don't get to it. For 2, I just want to get through it faster and be done with it. and then go back to history. Get myself some check boxes real quick, catch up. And then I do like him to record like what module he's in, just like what he ended in. So I can kind of see the progress. His science notebook has a place where he checks off like all his work, and then I check off like a final that he did it for whatever each day's thing was. So there's actually additional record keeping that I'll probably rip those out of the notebook and keep it with this and the records that I keep at the end of the year. So on Mondays he has for trail life. If you guys are looking for a good like Christian activity for your boys to do, consider trail life. And then for girls, American Heritage Girls. The boys are really loving trail life. And we just joined a new troop that was closer to our house. But right now, all 3 of them are in there now, even my 5-year-old. But yeah, he has youth group on Wednesdays. Thursdays, we have life group. And of course, we have church on Sunday. 1 down. So I know I call us RC plus. RC is like the base. And this is kind of one of the ways I keep us, besides the book list, I keep us kind of based in the RC method. I am trying to pick resources and activities and things that are things they can get trained on and then like go forward with on their own. So I'm trying to get the kids to be independent, but we're always going to be needing to give them feedback and stuff like that. For my 7th grader, so RC would say 2 hours of math, 2 hours of reading, and that reading time the book list is covering the gamut of your other subjects, like, history, social studies, science, and stuff like that. 1 hour of writing. It's a total of 5 hours. Let me show you how I'm kind of taking that guideline, right, and how I make it work in my own way. So if you want to play around, it's fun to have something that you can dry erase like this, so you can play around with plans. Sorry, my light is reflective. It's annoying. Okay, I've got my dry erase pens. So I've got child number 1, child number 2, child number 3, right? So this is a 7th grader. This is a 3rd grader. This is a kindergartner. So our times are going to be, we're not going to spend, these two don't do nearly as much time as this one, right? So let's just think about the times. I would say we usually start school around 9:30. This just helps me think through where we are in the day and what typically happens. So we're all in the schoolroom together. And I would say the first thing we do is Bible. We do that for about 20 minutes in the morning. And these two are involved in that. He is in here during that time. He's usually just drawing. You don't know how much he prays with us when we pray, though. Sometimes I'm reading to him, leading little ones to God. I can't do these two things at the same times. So he's in there for Bible. Bible's in pink. Okay. I have some subjects that I have to do with my kids. I know which ones they require me to kind of be there available for. I don't want to have as many of those overlapping as one time as I can. I try to keep those times separate. So Bo is in kindergarten. He's 100% dependent on me to tell him what to do, right? So I'm teaching him how to read. I'm teaching him how to add and subtract right now and all that stuff. So I like to give him my attention first thing in the morning because I have found that it's easier to do his stuff with him and get it out of the way earlier in the day, and then just be coming up with stuff for him to do, like activities or whatever later, like Play-Doh or playing with flour in the kitchen with me or going outside or whatever. So I like to start him with, let's do reading. So I'd say we spend about, I don't know, we're doing Teach Your Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons. Let's just say I warm them up with like some phonics flashcards. Then we do our reading lesson. Then we do the like writing part. But I kind of consider that all part of learning to read. And I'd say it's about 20 minutes total. If he doesn't like run off in the middle of it and claim he has to go to the bathroom or something, right? But we're going to call this reading. While I'm doing that with him, Everett is going to read his RC book for an hour. So he's going to read his RC book. Then he's gonna journal on it afterwards, which should only take about 5 minutes. We have a journal he does. I have a video on all the assignments that my kids do with their books off their book list. I'll link it in the description box too, in case you're just curious about, because sometimes this changes. And during that same amount of time, William, who is in 3rd grade, he can now read. I can give him an hour. He can, he's reading from the free read show. We usually just call it free. I call it free reading because it's not like the McGuffey lessons. Okay, so then that gives me, I see that's keeping them quiet and occupied. He will need a little playtime. So I'm just going to say there's going to be some dead time here where I say, okay, you get a play break. And I mean, very short, like 10 or 15 minutes. I might at this time go like change a load of laundry or I don't know, just some other little chore. And I might take him along with me, or he may just be playing with Legos or something. The big thing is not to have him interrupting his brothers. Anyways, then I come back, we will do math. Okay, this doesn't take that long. We'll just block in. Because there's always some messing around and some wasting of time here and there, but we're doing his math during that time. I'd say, yeah, another 20 minutes on math. And then maybe I should make that note. This is about 20 minutes. Okay, so what I was finding is I'm splitting that 2 hours of recommended reading time, and not just the RC book. I'm using it to cover, I like him to read from the RC list, but he's going to read his science. He's going to read his science textbook and do the notebooking and stuff that goes with it. So we will do science in green. He spends another hour doing his science, but I'm basically considering that since most of that's reading. He just grabs his Apologia textbook and his notebook and starts working. He actually listens to the audiobook while he reads. And when he is done with his free reading, I am still working. Right, I probably finished up with math here, and he's got a little, another play break. Can't let him get gone too long, or else it's hard to wrangle him back to school. And get him to do something he can also do more on his own. So something that he's really good at doing on his own right now is his spelling and his sentence scaffolds. I had to do the sentence scaffolds. I had to be more on hand, but he's gotten to the point now that he can do these on his own. So he can do this on his own. I consider like grammar and like spelling and copywork, all those I consider under the heading of writing. So WR for writing. So he is going to do sometimes, but it depends on the day. Some spelling days are fast and some are longer. So he's going to do spelling and he's going to do his sentence scaffold lesson, which is just a 1-page. It's very short because right here about 12 o'clock is when we're going to have lunch, right? People are going to start complaining that they're hungry at about 11:30, even though we literally just ate 2 hours ago. I'm hungry. So we're about to hit a dead zone of lunch, which just does seem to take a while. They gotta, get some wiggles out. They gotta do their cleanup after lunch. Sometimes we do a chore together, like real quick, like, oh, hey, can you go grab the eggs from the chicken coop? Hey, can you take the garbage out? Or, stuff like that happens during that hour. But before that, I would like to get in his story time. So it's kind of like reading. It's when I read him a story and then he tells it back to me, and then we have a page we fill in, or he draws and stuff. So we're just gonna say it's story time. And if he gets done early, he gets to start playing. Story time. Right now we're reading Brambly Hedge. Okay, after lunch, right? So I'm considering this like my 2 hours here, like 2 hours of reading, because it's basically what he's doing most of the time. I tend to do his math first, and it doesn't really take very long. I don't know, maybe half an hour. It kind of depends on the lesson. Some might take a little bit longer, but I'd say on average half an hour, start to finish. While I'm doing math with him, he usually will come over and he can read to me his McGuffey reader real quick, like maybe right before I start math, right when we come in, because then he can work on his copy work. So we're going to do our McGuffey lesson together, which is really fast. McGuffey lesson. It's not a half hour lesson. Let's say like 15 minutes tops if we talk about a whole bunch of extra stuff. And then he's going to follow that up with his writing, his copy work, which he can do completely on his own. That is really as fast or as slow as he wants to write. Okay, when he's done with his math, then actually this is a good time for him to do his vocabulary, which doesn't take that long. Do his vocab, and he can do that independently. Well, these two are working on doing something independently. If I have time, I will do Bo's. We do Bo's science. He's doing science right now. We're either going to do science or geography. And we're using Berenstain Bears' Big Book of Science and Nature. Yeah, Bo gets extra lunchtime, but he has to mess around time. He gets to come back in here after lunch and goof off. He gets to look at books. He gets to play with the Legos or anything. Or he's just, at that age where he's doing a lot of drawing. He can draw on the chalkboard. He can draw on his notebook. But he just has to be in here because he has to be supervised. And he's usually drawing, or if he really can't find something to do, I'll tell him to do a puzzle. We got puzzles in here. What else does he like to do lately? Sometimes I let him get all his get a bunch of his toy cars, and I get one of our mixing bowls in the kitchen, and I let him give his cars a car wash. Right? He can get a little bit of flour, some flour, and he can say it's snowing in a pan. He can play with them, and then he can get them the car wash. So sometimes after lunch, he's got some kind of kitchen activity. I let him play in there for a little bit because he's not far from me. Or I give him his Play-Doh. This is a good time for Play-Doh. Things that just kind of keep him a little bit occupied a little bit longer. I'm trying to get him into Lincoln Logs. I feel like the kids always want me to build the stuff. And I'm like, nope, it's for you. I buy these toys for you so you will learn to build the log cabins. Anyways, I think I might rotate out his Legos and bring down some Lincoln Logs in here just because it's something new that might kind of keep him absorbed a little bit longer. I have a basket that I kind of rotate things through down here. I don't like to have too many toys in the schoolroom, but just enough for one basket, So I'll do my science with him, whatever we have going on during this time, because these two are working independently. Then that's a good time for us to have William's math. Right? And after his science, he's done. And then Everett has, I did vocab in purple. I should have done it. I consider vocab part of reading vocab. There we go. Then Everett has an hour of writing with me. And we are using writing and rhetoric with him right now. And so we just set a timer for 1 hour. I can do these at the same time because this is so low involvement for me. And sometimes I just have him do it without me and I just check it afterwards if things are way too bonkers. Yeah, this is roughly what they're doing. And I will say sometimes he gets this is pretty much the earliest ever gets done is usually around 3. If he could get done earlier if he tried harder, but he doesn't. He never really rushes. William, I'll say he can get done much earlier. There's some days that he just blasts through his stuff and is done, after at lunch or whatever. But this is more kind of typical. And then, this is pretty typical. He's done basically with everything that I'm really concerned about before lunchtime. And then we do some kind of science activity or reading or video in the afternoon, which he actually really looks forward. About 20 minutes a subject each. So he's getting a little more than an hour and 20 minutes total. And we don't do science every day. We just don't make it every day. Some days I'm just so caught up with these two and trying to juggle them that he may just be playing, with us. Oh, wait, where's his science? So his science is about here. So he's got another like, okay, there we go. And we don't get to science every single day. The days that we don't do science, the days are obviously a lot shorter. This is kind of like roughly what we're actually doing and how much time we're actually spending in the schoolroom. And yeah, but some days I'm like, you know what, forget it. We're not going to do science today. I want to get done early and go to the lake. Sometimes he gets his spelling done really, really fast, or his copywork done really, really fast, and he's playing for much longer, part of the day. It just kind of depends. Okay, I hope this is helpful for anybody. I mean, I'd be interested to know how long, what other people's days are looking like. I know some families don't do every subject every day. We basically, we don't do every subject every day. We definitely will drop science. We do half the time we do science and half the time we do history, but we definitely drop science probably a couple days a week. Lately I've been putting it on every day just to remind myself that it's there, but I'm expecting that at least 2 or 3 days a week we won't get to it. So, just because of how days go. Anyways, this will be linked for you in the description box if you think that would be helpful. Okay, talk to you later.